Hi guys, today we're looking at Futaba's MA switches, better known as the Futaba clicky switch. I've wanted to show these switches for a very long time now, but I needed a lot of parts and props, and it proved to be an incredibly complicated project despite the seeming simplicity of the switches. Futaba MA switches use a plate spring, which is this thing here, which is hooked into the housing in these corners, and it's slightly bent inwards along these lines you can see here. With enough pressure from the slider above, it suddenly inverts, which actuates the switch and provides both a tactile bump and the clicky sound. The pressure on the top of the plate spring is exerted through a coil spring sitting below the slider, hooked into this crown-like thing at the top of the plate spring, and this arrangement is known as a stacked spring assembly, a coil spring on top of a plate spring. This is pretty common for snap-action switches like this, which allows for both pre-travel and over-travel. The pressure from the plate spring in turn is exerted through a rubber mat onto this curious looking ring contact that's sitting on top of a pair of plate electrodes closing a circuit. Now the thing that these switches are most famous for is that they are more tactile and clicky on the upstroke than they are on the downstroke. Which sounds like a bizarre design anomaly, but I've been led to believe that this isn't actually by design. Instead, it's been suggested that the rubber in the mat deforms over time and slightly pushes the plate spring out of the way, hampering the click and tactility on the downstroke and resulting in this strange key feel and sound. In some cases, the metamorphosis is so severe that the key feel and sound actually become completely linear. The story doesn't appear to be quite as simple as that, however, as our own switches that still don't work properly even if you take the top off, including this linear one here, and to be honest, the rubber mat in all the switches that I examined appear to be pretty much completely flat and untouched. The linear one has the exact same parts in it, it seems, but the plate spring is completely stuck in there, and I think that's what caused it to become linear. Someone mentioned to me that you can restore these switches, as it were, by pushing down on them really hard with much of your body weight, really, and that this made the switch much more clicky and tactile on the downstroke, and they graciously sent me a few of these restored switches to try them out. But when I tried them out next to other loose switches, as well as mounted next to mounted switches, I found that there was actually really almost no difference in tactility, so even if they did warp over time, it seems that restoring them is a pretty difficult task. Also, I opened up some of the modified switches and nothing looked different inside. The sound was pretty different though. The switches also have a rather strange penchant for rivets. The top and bottom housings are riveted together, so you can't open them without permanent damage. The rubber mat is riveted to the bottom housing, and so is the ring contact at the bottom. The electrode plates are embedded in the bottom housing as well, and it uses a weird triangular 3-pin mount that's basically incompatible with everything else as far as I know. They did both an MX mount version as well as one with Futaba's own inverse cross mount, and even a latching version which uses a unique mount of its own. All in all, counting 2 electrodes in the housing, the switch numbers 10 parts, making it moderately complex for a keyboard switch. Be on the lookout for a Futaba review at the end of the month as well. That's it for this switch teardown, and see you guys next time.
CHPI